Hi, I'm Katie with Dashing Dish. Today I'm going to show you how to make breadsticks using cauliflower. And I love using cauliflower in so many of my recipes. It's a great way to replace so many breads, and you can actually use it as a rice substitute in a lot of recipes. So in order to make the cauliflower for this recipe in particular, you just have to do something called rice it. And so you can do that if you have a really high power blender or food processor. I have a little mini food processor here just to show you kind of how it's done. So you just take the whole head of cauliflower and you would put it in a food processor or in a blender. And then you just kind of pulse it until it reaches the stage of a rice, and that's why it's called ricing. So you can see I have a whole cauliflower head riced here in the bowl, and to that you're just going to add some cheese and some egg whites and seasoning, and it's really that simple. So here I have some Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to add a ½ cup. And I love using Parmesan cheese because it gives a lot of flavor for a cheese with a little amount of calories. So as opposed to, say, a grated cheese, Parmesan cheese packs a lot of flavor. So I love using it in my recipes, and instead of using it as breadcrumbs, using breadcrumbs in, say, a meatloaf, I use Parmesan cheese a lot of times because it acts as a really good binder. And then the other cheese we have here is some mozzarella, and I'm going to do a ½ cup of that. And then I'm going to add the seasonings. I have garlic powder here, and I love garlic powder because really, you need garlic in any kind of breadstick, in my opinion. And then Italian seasoning. And I'm just adding 1 teaspoon of both. And then I'm going to add just a pinch of salt and pepper, just to flavor the cauliflower a little bit. And then I'm going to mix this together a little. And when you mix this up, it kind of combines all of the flavors of the seasonings and the cheeses. And you know, I personally don't like to cut out any food groups out of my diet. I like to eat everything in moderation. But if you are trying to limit your carbohydrates, cauliflower breadsticks are a great swap out. So here I have 2 egg whites, and I'm going to add this, and this just binds everything together. And the great thing about these breadsticks is it really takes just a few ingredients. They're ready in about 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're making them for a crowd or, say, game day, they're ready really quickly. And then they're about 50 calories per breadstick. So even if you ate the entire tray, you're eating about 500 calories, which it may just happen with this recipe because they're that good. So make sure you have someone around to share it with. And then as you can see, I lined my baking pan here with parchment paper. And I love using parchment paper or foil on my pan when I'm making something because you can just take it right off and throw it away. And that way you don't even have to wash your pans when you're done. And I'm all about keeping it simple in the kitchen. I don't like making a huge mess. I don't like dirtying a lot of dishes. So that's a really simple way of doing so. So once you mix this all together and it's nice and combined, you want to make sure those egg whites really get in there to kind of bind everything. You can put everything onto the parchment paper here. And then you form it into a rectangle or whatever shape you like. And it looks like it's not really going to hold together, but once you bake it and the cheese and the egg bind everything together, you will see that you will have the perfect breadsticks for dipping. So I'm going to do kind of a rectangle shape here. And you know, you could even do like a football shape. You can get creative and do whatever you'd like. And then what you'll want to do is preheat your oven, bake this at 425 degrees for about 15 minutes, and then take it out of the oven, and for the last 5 minutes, you'll want to sprinkle it with some more mozzarella cheese. So I have some here. So if we had already baked this about 15 minutes, we would just add the cheese, and then we would bake it for another, say, 5 to 10 minutes until the cheese is melted. And then you can see here we have the finished product. And you can make them really as thin or thick as you like. The thicker that they are, it's going to be a little easier for dipping, but you can dip it in some marinara sauce. And there you go. You have the cauliflower breadsticks that everyone will love. And so if you would like to find this recipe, you can get it at ctvn.org. And And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy.